our comms seem to be having lots of trouble today, but we're with Karula and the cubs. Unfortunately, they are moving towards our southern boundary at the moment. Who's this closest to us? It's little Shongile, isn't she pretty? Oh, you can't even see her, she's so close to us. She's actually in front of the bonnet. Jean is rolling VR. There we go, there she is there. Look at that. Incredible little leopard. I need to click. There we go, that's for the VR. Hello, gorgeous. This is... Oh, she's going to walk right under the VR rig. Isn't that incredible? So, hopefully she... Look at that, isn't that amazing? Isn't that just wonderful? I think she's definitely becoming one of my favorite little characters very quickly. And really showing that independent streak. And here comes the queen. Her mother is also going to pass directly under the VR rig. There she goes. I can't even see her, she's so close. There she goes. Isn't this incredible? Gotta love these leopards. And now, again, right in front of the VR, the next little cub is coming. And disappearing and appearing. Wow, isn't that great, guys? Absolutely amazing. Now, they might go for it. Oh no, I think that pan's dried up. I'm going to try to jump up ahead of them now. Okay, so Yonder, I need to click to end VR. There we go. Hello! Yabex, Minjan. Okay, let's jump around to get to Queen Karula. And there's young Michael from Cheetah fans. Hello, Michael. Hello. Hippo Marman. Minjan. Hello. Sorry, rushing around to see leopards. We're there. Okay, here they come. Go. Don't go, turn around. Turn around, Karula. We've loved having you back on Djuma for an extended stay. Maybe just visit for a night and be back tomorrow morning. Oh. Game time. Hi, Mom. Is there a tree behind me, Jandre? So unfortunately, they are very close to our southern boundary. And I'm so happy to see them before she went off meandering to the south. Bumpity. All the bumps are worth seeing the queen and the cubs. Here she is, the queen of Djuma. Oh, looks like she's going to take a nice little break next to us. That's very kind of her. Here it comes. Ooh. Just because you're upset with your children, don't snarl at me. We're VRing again. I'm not going to click while they're this close though. But look, this leopard's right in front, going right under the VR. Oh, she's giving the cub a clean by the looks of things. Right in front of our vehicle. So close we can't see. All three of them are now right there that I can't see them. There they go. Moving off to the left. There you go, she's hissing at the cubs. Now, who's that? Shongile looks very interested in our virtual reality rig. There they go. Oh, hoppity hop, hop, hop. Sorry, click, click. So unfortunately, as I said, she's just crossing the fire break. She's about to go and visit little Gauri now, where we unfortunately don't have traverse. Looks like she's going to go set walk. We're going to make it. The net. And there we go, the last view of Queen Karula as she departs to the south. Unfortunately, hopefully she'll be back soon. There we go. And there's little Shongile, the extremely beautiful one. Where's Asana now? What trouble is he causing and where? Ah, he's bringing up the rear. Alas, off they go. But hopefully she'll be back by morning. The Impala tastes better on Djuma, I'm sure of it. Okay, so we're going to have to leave. We're going to hand this sighting over to the guys in the east. Okay, so there they go. I think we might get one last view. Oh no, we're going to get Land Rover, so we're not going to get one last view. But she's headed off into Little Gauri. But it was great to catch up with her before she left. And we're going to go that way. Oh, where should we go? I don't know where to go now. Let's go that way. Are you ready for the fast swing, Andre? Bye! So there we go. What an unfortunate turn of events that Queen Karula... That's Jims! That's Dush! Winjad! No, sorry, I was just talking to Djuma's new trucker is James. He used to work with me at Londolozi many years ago. I was referring to his belly. I told him he wasn't tracking enough these days and he was eating too much. Okay. Wow, that was great, but now they've left, sadly, but James found another baby Ellie.
Can you believe it? Look at what we have found. Another gorgeous little newborn baby elephant. And I don't know if this is the same one as Brent had earlier, or if it's our little one. Could it be the little elephant that we saw a few days ago, just a few hours old? I don't think so. This looks like a little female. This must have been... Oh, look at this. Now this is a really tiny baby elephant. Look how wobbly its little legs are. It's definitely not the same mother as our elephant that we saw a couple of days ago, but it is too gorgeous nonetheless. Still walking on very wobbly legs. Oh, fuzz, look, it's still covered in... I don't think that's mud. I don't think that little baby's covered in mud. I think it's still got the crustiness from the birthing process. Dried bits of mucus. Oh, that's a big mountain to climb when you've got such little wobbly legs. Going to catch up with Mom. Oh, we're so lucky to spend the amount of time as we have with these tiny babies. Hopefully they don't go too far. They've now crossed the main road into Buffelshoek. I'm hoping that they are going to stop here and feed so that we can get another glimpse at it. These baby elephants have just been incredible. How adorable is that, Brian? Oh, little stumbling feet. Oh, this little baby elephant is a day old, 2 days old, I would have thought. Look, it still hasn't quite worked out how to move its trunk out of its way when it walks. It keeps knocking it. And that's why actually baby elephants are born with shorter trunks, so that they don't get in the way like that. Oh, good luck, little one. Little girl as opposed to little boy. This must be the same. Surely this must be the same one as Brent saw earlier. It can't possibly be a different one. I mean, we do know that elephants do have a peak birthing season in the wet season, but I would have put that more further into the wet season than right at the start. So we've just been really very lucky that we've been seeing so many little ones. And as I said, I did realize that Brent had seen a female calf earlier. It must be the same one. I'm not sure where he was though. That's the only thing, because these little... Don't you think it's amazing that these little elephants cover the distance that they do at only a few days old? As they wobble along. I mean, that's a tremendous size difference, and everybody takes such big footsteps. And this little one's got to walk double speed to keep up with them. And what for an elephant is just an easy stroll, a fully grown elephant, for a little baby like that that's just learned to use its legs, the whole process must be a little bit confusing and quite exhausting. There you go. Good luck, little one. Oh, he's so tiny. Now, as a little female, this this little calf will have an entirely different future to the one mapped up from our little male, from a few days ago. And Kristen, in North Carolina, you were wondering about that, sort of what life is like for elephants, how long do they live, and whether they will stay together all their lives. So this little female elephant, let's start with the second question first. She's going to stay in this herd with her mom for the rest of her life, or at least for the rest of her mom's adult life. She'll stay with her sisters, her cousins, her aunts. She's going to be loved and babysat, and coddled by the older females in the herd. The bonds between all females in an elephant herd like this are incredibly, incredibly strong. And she will remain there most likely for the rest of her life. And that can extend for an elephant in the wild right up to about 60 years old, even maybe 70 in exceptional circumstances. But you're probably looking realistically in the wild between 45 and 60 years old. So that's a long, long life. It's nearly as long as a human being. What a special sighting. I love watching those little ones wobble along. And it's very, very encouraging to see so many of them. Try and find my way back onto the road now. Whoopsie. Don't do it, Wendy, don't do it. Come on. Here we go. The little male, on the other hand, just talking about what life has in store for him, he will spend the first few years of his life being one of the most valued members of the herds, protected. Mom will come constantly rushing to the sound of his calls or his cries if he does get upset about something. But once he does start to reach puberty, when he reaches sexual maturity in his teens, he'll be pushed more and more to the outskirts of the herd before it becomes time to leave completely. And he will move off and lead a relatively solitary existence. He might come and go with other breeding herds, spend a bit of time with other males, enjoy their company. Lots of evidence around at the moment that the lions have been doing their usual work. And then turn right, yes. I don't speak buffalo. I don't think she got it, unfortunately. I know where your kin are. but unfortunately you're not in the right direction. No, not that way. Not that way, this way. This way, yes, that's it. Looking in the right direction. Nope, unfortunately not. Interesting, she's got an almost completely bald face. Usually we talk about the tufts of hair between the horns of the females. It's one of the ways of distinguishing from the males. She's got nothing. She's got some kind of a skin condition that she's rubbed all of the hair away from the top of her head and from her face. That standard buffalo look. Shame. Not in the greatest of conditions. Thin, struggling, and now isolated. She is a very, very vulnerable buffalo indeed. Luckily for her, as we've spoken about before, a buffalo herd is not a subtle nor a quiet thing. As it moves through an area, they make a tremendous amount of noise. They break branches. They moo constantly at each other. They get into scraps with each other, so they fight and they kick and they bray. And she does have a good chance of reconnecting with them. It does make me wonder where these lions are, though. They can't be far from where we are. Shame, girlie. I wish I could explain to you how to make your life much better. It's not far at all. She does look unscathed, though. So I think it's just a case of separation. I don't see any scratches or injuries on her. She just looks a little bit tired and confused. Okay. Alright, I'm going to leave this female buffalo and let her relocate the rest of her family on her own. I hope she does manage. Good luck, girl. You're very lackluster. I said she's not injured, and she's not. It's odd that she hasn't moved. That she's standing out in the open like this. Maybe just exhausted. It might have been a long chase. And she might have, which buffalo do, she might have tried to fight back as well, even if it was not her that the lions were after. Buffalo have a tremendous sense of courage, and they very, very frequently go back to help the fallen members of their herd, particularly the cows with calves. Of course, those are the most vulnerable members of the buffalo herd, and the cows will try and protect them. But it doesn't have to be their calf. We've seen some incredible shots of buffalo chasing lions again. She does look so lost, though. Hopefully she manages to at least find some dogger boys or some lone males to join up with. They might be able to help her at least have a little bit of company. I was speaking about our buffalo female from earlier. Nancy, you wanted to know. Oh, there she is she's going to move off. Nancy, you wanted to know if the lions were to kill and eat the buffalo infected by the botflies, would it do them any damage or make them sick? No, probably not. Chances are they will ingest all of that, if in fact they get there. Because of course, remember, we've spoken about this before with a buffalo skull. There are parts of a buffalo that a lion can't get into, and particularly that sinus cavity and then the brain cavity where the orbital nerves will sit. They probably won't get in there, although they might chew the eye a little bit. Well, actually, they'll probably eat the eye, if I'm completely honest. So they might not come in contact with them at all. Or you might have found that damage is done and that the botfly infection is over. Or they will ingest them and their stomach acid will kill off any of the maggots. I mean, generally, an infection of botflies or something similar by feeding off something is very, very rare for our predators. Just because they've got such incredibly potent digestive systems. You know, you think about it, they eat maggots all the time. They eat rotten carcasses. Their systems are built and designed very differently to ours. Okay, well, at least she's feeding now. No, she's okay. She's just got to go and reunite with the rest of her herd. She's very vulnerable though, all on her own. Well, wish you the best of luck. Susie, very good question. Because we were talking about the other day how you tell the difference between male and female buffalo, and I mentioned that the penis sheath of the male sits in the middle of the belly. You wanted to know what that bump is on the female. Most of the female buffalo seem to have it, and my only suggestion is it's their belly button. It's the attachment point for where the umbilical cord used to sit. That's my only... The other thing it could be is a hernia, but it seems very unlikely that they all have hernias in exactly the same spot. I would guess and say that that was the attachment point for the belly button. Oh, not the belly button, the umbilical cord. Almost all female buffalo have it. And you can see that she is a female, though. You can see the nipples between her back legs. Somewhat coated in ticks, poor thing. And obviously the very prominent lack of testicles, which is clear in buffalo bulls. So for our new viewers, telling the difference between males and females, since obviously females have horns as well, is relatively easy in buffalo. Oh, shame, look how sunken her pelvis is. That's been a very, very hard season for some of these animals. And that in a drought is the worst part. It's the lack of water, the lack of food, not water. Now, Laura, you wanted to know if the skin disease is on the rest of her body, or just her face, or is it just mud? It does look like it's in scattered parts throughout her skin. You can see the balding patches on her hips, on her belly, on her sides. Very common to see buffalo with either mange sort of style infections or else fungal infections. We see it with, there's very few buffalo that you see that don't have some kind of skin disease. They're all affected to a greater or to a lesser extent. That's good. That's good. Keep walking. Keep walking and then turn right. When you hit Tambuti Dam, turn right. You'll hear them. Well done, girl. And she's going in the right direction. She wants to catch up with the rest of the buffalo herd. That is the way to go. And good luck to her. She's had a difficult morning. I say difficult morning. She's clearly, judging by the condition she's in. Let's go over to Brent, see what he's got.
Ask for a quick link. Look, sorry, Jean's commented, it's a new bird, it's a broad-billed roller. We've been asked about this so many times, and the rain's come, and we've got the missing roller species for Djuma, for all your bird lists. I'm so happy it's a broad-billed roller. I nearly fell out of the car grabbing the radio, asking for a quick link. I know it's far away, but I wanted to make sure it didn't disappear. Now, I'm pretty sure this could be a new species for everyone. Now, an incredibly beautiful bird. I am going to try and get a little bit closer. Hopefully it doesn't fly. I'm so excited. It's been such a wonderful afternoon. Closer. Don't fly. The first broad-billed roller ever seen on Safari Live. It's flying. No. Land. Good broad-billed roller. There we go, we can see the colours a bit better now. I know it's still far away. So you can see it's smaller than the lilac-breasted European or purple. Now the only reason this bird has come up here is because of the rains we've had recently. And you probably find the southern Sabi Sands is still very dry. And it's come up here looking for food. Normally associated with permanent rivers. Okay, we're going to attempt to get closer again. I'm so happy. Because we've been asked many times about the broad-billed roller. To actually finally see one, happiness. He's still there. There we go. Look at that, you can see the colours now. Isn't that exquisite? See that very yellow beak? It's a very broad beak for a bird of its size, hence the name. And look at that lovely deep purple. So it's a really deep purple that roller has. And you can see the light blue feathers, similar coloration to the lilac-breasted roller underneath. And you can see you can see it's a roller, but it is quite a different looking roller to the rest of them. Wow, isn't he beautiful? Now, they are intra-Africa migrants, so he probably arrived in South Africa around September, and they normally stay from September to about April. Further north, sort of around the Zambezi River, they are resident. So during our winter months, they are up in Somalia, Ethiopia, Zambia, Angola, certain parts of Congo. It's a very similar diet to the other rollers, insect based, so perches like that and then attacks quite often flying insects, so it takes quite a lot of food in the air. So they don't breed here, they breed up in the Sahel, so Ivory Coast, that area. It's being so kind, it's not flying away, isn't this wonderful? Do you think we could get even a little bit closer? I wonder. What do you think, Chandra? Worth a try? We've had a good solid view. Let's just try get a tiny bit closer. Popping our nose in its general direction. Now this is a new one for my Djuma list. Oh no! Oh no, he popped around to the other side of the tree. Oh wow, he got him still. Nah. Oh dear, but wasn't that wonderful? John, if we go off to the right of the tree though. Oh, now that one's gone as well. Keep going. It's popping around. No, it's gone. Oh no, it's still there. Where's my arm? Can you see a little bit higher? And a little bit to the left. And a little bit more to the left. There, stop. Oh, he's in the middle of the tree. Oh no, sorry, I went to the far right. I was trying to... the far right of the tree. No, that's what I meant. There he is. But also there's a scimitar hopping around in there. And I can't see him now. Oh, he's come up to the right. And... No, you missed a little bit higher, I think. No, come out a bit. There we go. And I'm just trying to... I can see him a little bit to the left. A little bit up. There, stop. He's hopping around in there. He's escaped. No, he wasn't. Where's he gone now? I've lost him. But wasn't that exciting? The first broad-billed roller. There's Andre. Bottom of the right one now. Look, there, you see it flying? Yes, the scimitar. There we go. Ha! Oh, and there he's gone. Oh, wasn't that? And that roller happened to appear at the most perfect time in the most perfect light. Sorry we couldn't get a bit closer. But wow, how wonderful was that? So I'm sure that's added to lots of bird lists. Let me know, hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarth.TV. So even though we haven't found the great spotted cuckoo yet, we've got the first broad-billed roller. I forgot there was a tree behind me, but carrying on. Jandre's still there, so don't worry. Keep looking to see if I can see him again, but I think he's gone. Let's continue on. Let's see. I think we're going to get other birds now, as that's getting a little bit later. Let's see what other magnificent bird species we can see. So, not here. I'm not sure what's happened to our radios. They're working perfectly this morning, but I haven't heard anything now. So Hoofweek might not even be live. I'm not hearing anything now either. This is fun. This is guess when you're live. Jandre doesn't like it as much as me. He says he feels exposed and vulnerable without being able to hear the calming and soothing voices of Final Control. Personally, I think it's quite a relief not to have them in my ear for 3 hours or 6 hours a day. Just saying. Of course, I'm only joking, because without them, we wouldn't be able to get your wonderful questions and comments. And I'm pretty sure Final Control is trying to talk to me. Now, why does that say no signal? That's a problem on our radio. That is a big problem, don't you say?
I'm not hearing anything.
I'm not hearing anything. So we'll just go on as if we're alive. Which we are, I think. Now, we do apologize for this. So when you do, we are upgrading the comm system, and it's one of those things that takes some time, a little bit of working out to get it working perfectly, but it is for the better. It'll make the drive far more seamless. I hear something in my ear. Yes, I hear you, Rebecca. Oh, I heard Brent.
Can't be you.
Okay. I think we're live, Jandre. We're very much live. Well done, Joanne. Number 206 is the broad-billed roller. Now, of all the birds I was expecting to see, have we just spotted? No, it's not. I thought we might see the first European roller of the year. Jandre is going to shout at me if I try to show you that bird, because it's literally in the sun. But it's a lilac-breasted roller. Well, it would have been a silhouette of a lilac-breasted roller. So well done to Joanne. Now, Michael's asking whether they are sexually dimorphic, and what Michael means by that is there a difference between the male and the female? Okay. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. They are not like the other rollers, so they are the same. So there we go. That's what we just saw. Isn't that wonderful? I hope you got some great screenshots. So I'm still very much on a high of the broad-billed roller. So Michael, note that the male and female look the same. So there we go. There's a pair of them to show you. So very much the same. Now, their call is the typical of a roller. Somewhere between a frog and a turkey being strangled. So the rollers are often very beautiful birds, but they definitely do not win the singing competitions. Oh, no, sorry, I thought something. Let's stop that and carry on. Just the most lovely light spreading through the bush. You can see how green it is getting out there. Look at that. Beautiful. We're getting towards that wonderful time of the day that my father refers to as the magic hour. And you can't, I know a lot of people might disagree with me, and magic hour is splendid wherever you might be in the world. But for me, there's just something that much more special about magic hour in the bush as opposed to the beach or the lake or definitely or Johannesburg. Well, let's have a look down here. We've got some other birds, some Senegal lapwings. Now, Elizabeth in Singapore says the broad-walled roller is also known as the cinnamon roller. I have never heard that name for it before, Elizabeth, but it's quite possible. And it's not on my alternative name list on the Roberts. I like the German name for it though, Zimtroller. The broad-walled roller in German, Zimtroller. Am I pronouncing it correctly, Jean-Ray?
I'm not German.
I thought you might know some German. Zimtroller. Zimtroller. No, that's Russian. I don't have the Russian name for it. Oh. Naughty, naughty, naughty. All of you answering the eagle quiz. It is none of the above that I have been fed so far. Booted eagle, steppe eagle, batelier. None of the above. I said look at the shape of the tail when it's flying. That's the diagnostic. That's the giveaway to which species it is. So I'm going to give you guys another chance to try and figure out which eagle that is. Remember to send your answers through to #SafariLive or email it to questions@WildEarth.tv. My nemesis tree. The torchwood that I fell out of. Evil tree. Jean-Ray thought it was very funny, so he's also evil. But let's go across to someone who's not evil to see what Jamie's doing.
Oh, well, Brent circumnavigates his nemesis tree and tries not to climb up it and fall out of it again. We have arrived at Buffelshoek Dam, and it's actually been a while since I've been to Buffelshoek Dam, and I find myself quite startled by how little water there is left. And yes, there is water, but look at the rest of the dam and see if you notice anything unusual as we look across it. For our sensitive viewers, for those of you that really struggle with sightings like this, I just want to warn you that something that we're about to look at is quite hard to see. So please feel free to look away for a little while and then return to your screens in a bit. But I don't know if any of you noticed something here in the mud. This poor hippo is a stark reminder that although it has gone green, and it is wonderful that it is green, the drought is far from over. And animals like this hippo, one of the remaining few that is left in the northern Sabi sand, have very little opportunity to go and find themselves an ideal dam or waterhole spot where they can actually be fully submerged. And this poor chap has opted for the thick and glutinous mud of Buffelshoek Dam to cover himself, rather than trying to wallow in that fresh water. But that water is obviously, because it's a newly made dam, just to explain why he's there and not there. Because it's a newly constructed dam, obviously there were lots of vehicles. Remember, there were all kinds of graders and roadwork sort of things happening here in order to make the Buffelshoek Dam larger for the animals. But it does mean that soil is very compacted. So there's no mud and there's no opportunity for the hippo to actually fully submerge, which is why he's gone with the mud option instead. And that is the bit that he's in is the deepest, or used to be, the deepest spot of Buffelshoek Dam. So it's the one that has retained the mud for a little bit longer. And with his unbelievably sensitive skin, this is a very, very difficult time of year for him. And today was, what was today? It was 30, I've forgotten already what the maximum was. Must have been 31 or 32 degrees. So still not, there we go, it was 31 degrees centigrade this afternoon. Now that's still not boiling, by Sabi Sands standards. That's still actually not even really summer temperatures by Sabi Sands temperatures. But we are going to move into the 40s soon, and you have to really feel for animals like this hippo. You can see how the flies have gathered around him, probably getting to his sweat that he's been secreting to keep himself slightly cooler, and also to try and shield his skin from the sun, and they're swarming all over him. And a lot of those could actually be biting stable flies as well. They'd have trouble penetrating the thick skin on his back, but the sensitive skin around his ears has probably been bitten at. Shame, boy. It is a very, very sad sight. He's still, obviously, you can see him blinking. He's still alive. And he's actually fine. He's in relatively good health. He's not looking too thin, just struggling for space. And if he is a slightly older bull or a slightly younger bull, and it is a male, just looking at the shape of the head, they tend to have very square heads, very prominent nose structure. He's a male, and he probably came into conflict with a bigger, scarier bull at one of the deeper water holes that has more water. There is one on Buffelshoek Hook that has quite a bit of water. There's a few on Buffelshoek Hook that still have quite a bit of water. But because of competition for space, where hippo might usually be thoroughly tolerant of each other's company, at the moment they are the exact opposite, and they're constantly fighting for access to water holes. And unfortunately for this hippo, he's found himself in a not so pleasant spot. That being said, it's actually not impossible or uncommon to see a sight like that even in the middle of summer when there's plenty of water around. Sometimes they wander off, and they wander huge distances to feed, and they find themselves too far from water, and then they'll find themselves some thick mud. Jennifer has raised a very good point, and I know it's a point that many of you feel, and we of course speak about this all the time, about the fact that we don't interfere with the animals unless the problem is man-made. Jennifer's argument is, well, since these water holes are man-made, they're constructed by humans, should something not be done to help this hippo? And that is one of the big reasons why people did interfere at the start of this drought, to try and set up passive capture nets to capture as many hippos as possible, because we did see this problem coming, to capture as many hippo as possible and to move them to parts of the country that had slightly more water. Unfortunately, it's absolutely impossible to catch every single hippo. What can we do for him? There's water at the Boyatella Dam, and that's probably the best place he could go. He's got to find that on his own. We can't lead him to him. He's exceptionally dangerous in the state that he's in. I do understand, though, it's very difficult to watch, especially because the man-made dams of Buffelshoek Hook and these sort of areas have brought in animals that might not otherwise have been found in this area. And you know what? I thought that was a cloud. It's not a cloud. It's the moon. Look how beautiful that is. Sorry, I'm not moving away from that question. I just want to draw attention before it gets too much higher, since it looks so incredible at the moment. It looks absolutely massive. The moon. Is it full moon tonight, or is it tomorrow? Tomorrow night. Nearly full moon. Waxing full moon on its way up. Isn't that stunning? Going to be a really beautiful night tonight. Crisp and clear. We're going to be able to see. I noticed last night, moving in and noticing all of the elephants in our garden, I could see almost as well as I could see during the day if I let my eyes adjust. Full moon used to be it used to be my favorite time to be in the bush. It's taken on a slightly different slant now, because full moon is poacher's moon. It's a lot easier for poachers to move about on a full moon night. Just past some of the anti-poaching patrol. I'm not going to go into any further detail, but I know that they will be working extra specially hard over the next few days. So spare a thought for those men and women that look after these incredible animals. Right, so back to Jennifer's question. There's nothing we can do, unfortunately. It's impossible. We have to in this case, we have to let nature take its course. I understand your argument. There are pumped pans, and the water has to come from somewhere. That's the problem. It's one thing to try and fill a dam, but it takes a huge amount of water, and that water has to come from beneath the surface of the soil, and there's only so much water beneath the surface of the soil. And it's actually not so much the lack of space and sort of protection from the sun. It's also the lack of food as well. And Buffelshoek Dam, just looking at the grass growth, there's hardly any grass around here. Now, there's not much food for this poor hippo to eat. Shame. It's very, very sad though. I wish there was an easy answer. I lost him completely there, did you? I did as well. He's so well hidden. And as I said, he is very dangerous. This is the sort of hippo that you definitely want to avoid. And hopefully we get a little bit more rain at some point soon to give us a bit of relief. No, not us. To give them a bit of relief. Coming. It is coming. Perhaps we'll get lucky. This wind has brought in... It's meant to be 40 degrees tomorrow. I don't know about you, but this doesn't look like it's going to be 40-degree weather. This looks like the start of a front. I mean, there's no other way of interpreting that. A front on its way. A stunning panoramic view. Been a long time since I've sat and watched the sun go down. This is beautiful. The wind gusting in, hopefully. Really, truly, hopefully, bringing us some more rain. And not just smatterings of drizzle either. Proper rain. Oh, speaking of our hippo, back to our hippo once again. Joyce, you want to know if that hippo dies in the dam, will his body be removed from the dam itself? Look, we're not, just to clarify, we're not there at that point. He's actually not, I know he's in a miserable situation right now, but he's not in bad condition at all. His skeleton isn't prominent. He's actually looking as though the hippo are recovering quite well from the condition that they were in before the rains. But Joyce, if in a situation that he did die, then yes, probably the carcass, if possible, would be dragged from the water hole. It's a difficult one. I mean, it does obviously pollute. A carcass like that will pollute the water. If it were a larger water hole with more water, then it may well have been left to decompose as it would naturally in a river or something like that, in the Kruger National Park with crocodiles and so on. But because it's quite a small water hole, and because there's very little water for the other animals to drink, we probably would get to the point of pulling the carcass out of the dam itself. It is the same thing that happened with the hyena and the buffalo kill that they had in Red Dam. And hyena love to have kills in dams. It's a nice safe spot. The vultures don't want to come and land there to feed off it. And they can stay cool and eat at the same time. And the flesh goes nice and sort of mushy for them. So all in all, it's a win-win. But they did end up dragging that buffalo out of Red Dam. It does befoul the water. But we don't need to worry about that just yet. I think this hippo is going to be okay. And if the rain carries on as it has been, we need we need 2 weeks of just solid downpour, which would be tragic for our live drives, but that's what the animals need, and I don't think anybody would be too bothered by that. We would survive, we'd muddle through, and get the dams back up to the level that they should be. Hard to picture at the moment. But it will come. The cycle of the drought will end and we'll get rain again. It's just a question of when. Right, I think on to happier things. I think we should go back across to Brent so that he can cheer you all up again.
Keeping our eyes wide. Always good to check the termite area, the termite mounds, if the leopards are here. When I first saw the impala racing out of here, as always, Chandra and I were both going dogs, 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 dogs. But the fact that the kudu didn't sprint off means it's probably a cat. I'm just going to go a little bit further. I'm going to stop and listen. See if we can hear those alarm calls again. So this area, we know it's not Karula, she's gone south, but shadow does come into this area quite frequently, and so does Tingana. Nice game park here. I just want to see if there's any footprints on it. Any kitty cat tracks. Just listen for a second. Now, of course, in this gusting wind, they might have got a fright and snorted at a duiker and took off. It happens. But it's always worth checking these little half chances. You never know if it could turn into something incredible. Alas, I think they might have seen their own shadow or duiker. Well, let's keep checking. Well, thank you very much, RC. The German name is Zimet. I think I'm pronouncing it better. For that beautiful broad-billed roller means cinnamon. So the cinnamon roller. RC has also got the eagle quiz correct. It was indeed a Warburg's eagle. They have that incredibly distinctive shape while in flight, and we'll see if I have got a picture of it for you. I think those impala saw their own shadow or ran away from a duiker. I saw impala do that at the beginning of today's sunrise safari. Dash away from a duiker. Okay, eagles, Warburgs. Okay, so there we go. There should be a flying picture. Now, I see that very square, very straight tail. That is that very much significant. And it's a very long tail compared to the other eagles. And you just see it very long, very straight. And that's one of the diagnostic features of identifying a Warburg's eagle in flight. There we go. Well done, RC. I was really hoping for another leopard, but alas. Let's go see what else we can find. Ooh, aardvark hole. Ooh. No, I've been having, so I've had my shoes with me, but I'm having a barefoot day today. Decided barefoot is the way to go. There we go. Watch me stand on the biggest thorn possible now. Fortunately, up here, not too many thorn trees. So I just want to see. That was a very big wasp that came out of that hole. Now you always, especially at this time of the day, you always approach from the back. Now, even though I can see that this isn't being used, can you see the leaves inside, Jean-Andre? So this isn't being used, but you never know, because a lot of these burrows have multiple entrances. And if you approach from the front, you might be bowled over by a very annoyed wart pig. I think it's a barefoot day because I'm just so happy it's warm and hot again. None of this cold weather. Having to carry layer upon layer in October, it's just unheard of. Now October is quite in southern Africa and Central Africa is called suicide month. It is generally one of the hottest months and driest months, and towards the end of October, before we get to November when the rains start coming, it gets very humid as well. Okay, let's make our way back to the road. That looks like a good way. Sorry about that, the squeaky brakes. We haven't even changed them. Unfortunately, just lots of dust at the moment. While I crawl my way back to the road, let's go see what Jamie's up to.
I'm just trundling and soaking in the atmosphere of what is a truly stunning evening here in the African bush. I mean, wow, it's beautiful. Just look at that. Ah, it's slightly less windy. Try and find a good place to stop. Slightly less windy, and the sky's taken on such a vast array of different colors. Very soft floating cloud coming through. That looks almost sinister as it moves in, almost like haze. But it's cloud. Right, giving us hope for a little bit more in the way of rainfall. It is a truly beautiful evening. It's nice and mild. We really thought we'd solved Wendy's problems. Oh no, I say we. I really thought Opar had solved Wendy's problems. Ah well. We shall keep trying. Let's see what we can find as it starts to get dark on Djuma. Let's see what animals are coming out and about. The one thing that we're going to experience with full moon over the next 3 or so days, those of you watching the Djuma Dam camera, listen for this. The birds, and our regular viewers will be very familiar with this, but for our new viewers, there's a 24-hour dam camera up at the Djuma waterhole and several waterholes around Africa. I'll go and have a look at one of them and listen to the birds on a full moon night. They get very confused and they don't quite know, so they think it's sunrise and they start their calls and they continue their calls throughout the evening, which is actually quite funny to listen to. You can just hear them chirping away. Usually the Cape turtle doves and the drongos. 3 o'clock in the morning. Aha! There we go. So Joanne's been paying close attention. Ooh. That was a horrible sound. Just scraping past a tree. Joanne's been very observant, listening to the Djuma Dam camera, and says that she's heard the first European bee-eaters. I saw a European bee-eater, Joanne, so very well done, spot on. They are indeed back. I've been aiming to get them on camera, but they kind of flew in and flew out again. One day they were all on quarantine and the next they were gone. But we have been trying to get them on camera. We need European rollers and European bee-eaters to add to our list of returnees for the season. Maybe not risk Nyala Road North. We could well lose signal down there. Doesn't look like anybody's driven on this road for ages, which is great. I love driving where people haven't driven for a long time. This makes you wonder what we're missing. There was one memorable situation with James, and I think it was Kunuma during the TV shows. Was it Kunuma, Brian? Do you remember? On Mamba or Leadwood Road. A road that nobody had driven for ages. And he just happened to cross him with a kill that he was nearly finished, and he'd obviously been there for the last 3 days. I think it was on Leadwood Road. I think you're right. That's always a nice surprise. There you go. There's an animal that's definitely going to be keen on going to bed relatively soon. Not bed. They'll still continue to feed throughout the night, but they'll try and move themselves into nice, safe, sheltered spots. A beautiful teenage Nyala. Not quite fully grown. His horns haven't reached their full size just yet, but he has acquired his adult colouring. It's not quite as fluffy or as poofy as the fully grown adult males, but he's still beautiful. It's the tan stockings, I think, that complete the image of a male Nyala. Totally different to the females, and very, very beautiful. Here's a female on the right, 2 females on the right. Different colour entirely. That tannish colour, as opposed to the dark brown. Quite a shy antelope. Well, I say shy. They get used to human beings very, very quickly. There was one at the camp that I used to work at, or one of the camps that I used to work at, that we ended up calling Flower. And Flower was a baby Nyala whose mother was around, but mother wasn't very attentive for some reason, and she kept leaving this little baby Nyala in our garden. And it took to following us around, and eventually to the point that one of the volunteers was walking across the lawn with a bottle of conditioner that obviously smelt like some kind of flower scent. And she was standing talking to someone with this bottle of hair product in her hand. The next thing, it was yanked out of her hand by the baby Nyala that decided that it was going to try and suckle from this amazing smelling substance. The faces that Nyala pulled after it realized that it was conditioner and not something nice to eat was adorable. And they used to hand feed it flowers, which in hindsight was a very, very bad idea, because I came out the one day to find we used to take families on safari as well, and one of the youngest little ones was about 3, a little 3-year-old boy, and I came out to find one of the other guests with the 3-year-old boy feeding a male Nyala of roughly this age, maybe even a little bit younger, feeding a male Nyala by hand, and that is phenomenally risky. I mean, the chances of something going wrong are small, but if that animal startles, they're still very powerful creatures. We were just talking about the one that jumped into VM's window, and those tiny horns, especially for the young males, can be dagger-like in their sharpness. And there's a couple of recorded deaths in South Africa due to garden Nyala, nicknamed garden Nyala. You got to be careful feeding wild animals. It very seldom goes well. Little Flower, by the way, survived and grew up to be a female, fortunately. And she sort of grew out of her habit of hanging around all the people and moved off. Alright. Much like these Nyala are doing. And we are going to do as well. Oh, wow. That's beautiful. That is a very pretty sunset, and Rebecca is right. There's a very pretty sunset. Stunning. Jordan, while we take in the view, you wanted to know why the antelope was wagging its tail. They all wag their tails, and for the most part it is to sort of dislodge things like flies. The flies are still, we saw the ones around the hippos, they're still buzzing around all the animals, and also to shift ticks that might be crawling in their fur looking for a nice suitable attachment point, which usually, unfortunately for the animals out here, is usually directly under their tail. Phenomenally uncomfortable, so that's why they're wagging their tails. It's just a reflex action. We see it with elephants flicking like this, zebra, giraffe. They all use their tails as fly swatters. One thing Nyala do have, is an extraordinary amount of white hair underneath their tails, which you can't really see when they're relaxed like that, but when they do startle and they run away, they lift up the tail and you get this shock of white that's very clearly visible. And one of the reasons put forward to why they have that is so that they can follow each other through dense vegetation. I think it's more like flash coloration. If you're a predator, your vision's based on movement and white stands out really clearly. See that flash of white as the antelope runs, and if they run and hide and drop their tails, the predator's vision is going to be based on where they are. It's a thought. That being said, I don't think I've ever seen a predator be fooled by that. It's also in males, along with the rest of their fur. They puff themselves up when they're competing with another male and do a slow dance around each other that other males find very intimidating. It's a great way of avoiding physical confrontation until absolutely necessary. Sure, there are lots of ellies about. Let's try and find a good spot for this one. Here's the rest of your herd, little one. Shame, I don't want to startle her. She's fallen quite far behind. Or is it a little male? Ah, that explains it. No, it is a little female. I was right the first time. It is a little female. So she's just fallen behind the rest of the group, perhaps distracted by a particularly tasty bush that she spent slightly longer feeding off. And she's still relatively young. If I had to guess, I'd put her around 7, 8 maybe. So she's going to feel a little bit insecure about being this far from her herd. So we'll just sit and let her catch up, and then we'll catch up with her. Okay. Oh, hello. There's another one. I'm just going to wait for this one to, wait, what's it going to do? Yes, to move out into an open gap. And as it starts to get darker, Tammy, you wanted to know, when do elephants sleep? Is it at night? They can sleep at night, and they do, but it's usually for very short periods of time, and it's actually pretty much either during the day or at night. So they won't sleep the whole night through. They'll actually continue to feed, particularly on a full moon night like this evening, or an almost full moon night where there's plenty of ambient light to guide them. They'll continue to feed, and they'll take turns to doze. Sometimes the whole herd will gather, particularly with young ones around. They'll gather together and enjoy a little bit of sleepy time. The adult elephants only really spend 20 to 40 minutes asleep, if that. So it's not long periods of sleep in the same way humans experience it. And in fact, our sleep pattern is relatively rare, most creatures, but monkeys and baboons will also sleep in the same way we do, all the way through the night. They don't have the ability to see in the dark in the same way the predators do, or lots of the herbivores do, which is one of the reasons why their eyes don't reflect in a spotlight in the same way that, say, a bush babies might. They don't have that reflective tapetum lucidum. So they'll sleep all the way through. Elephants will not. And in fact, none of the antelope species really do either. They'll lie down, and they'll spend a bit of time ruminating, which is almost the antelope equivalent. The studies have shown that their brainwave patterns, while they ruminate, mimic that of sleep. So when they are standing ruminating, it is almost as though they are asleep. Ha. Our little elephants, on the other hand, are an exception to what we've been talking about. Baby elephants will spend lots and lots of time asleep. Martin, you want to know, will elephants usually sleep standing up, or will they lie down? Adults will usually stand, although they can, even fully grown elephants can lie down. But if they do lie down, they're usually up against a termite mound or leaning against a tree. Baby elephants lie down all the time. When they go to sleep, they'll actually lie down and have nap time. And it's so cute to watch. We had a wonderful scene of 2 baby elephants sleeping next to each other on the sunrise safari not too long ago. I'd love to tell you when, but my concept of time is appalling. I have no idea when it was. Maybe a week ago. Okay, it's getting a little bit dark for elephant viewing. Unfortunately, though, we have stumbled into the whole herd. Oh wait, hold on, we've got infrared in this car. We do. Alright, I am probably going to leave these Ellies to go about their evening snacking. In the meantime, Brent has got another view of that extraordinary full moon.
Brent. Let's go to Brent with it. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Sorry, John Doe's got no comms. If you hear me going 3, 2, 1, I'm trying to get him prepared. That was a quick 3, 2, 1 there. Yes, it is an extraordinary moon. I mean, look at that. Isn't that incredible? You can see those impact craters nice and clearly. The one on the right is very distinct. Now, there is a little bit of sort of moisture in the air that's above it that's giving it sort of haze. Can we zoom more on that, John? Negative. Okay, well, it was worth a try. Maybe once it rises above that area of moisture, we'll have another look a little later. Maybe we'll be able to see a little bit more detail. There we go, you can see it there. Beautiful. Lights on. It's not quite dark enough for the spotlight yet. So Jean has actually been filming the moon, doing the time lapse of the moon. So it was quite nice. We just got to sit in this beautiful open area on Impala Road. And it worked out quite well for both of us. Chandra wanted to time-lapse the moon, and I wanted to listen, see if those impala were spooked by themselves or by a duiker, or there was really a big cat around. So for the last few minutes of drive, I think I'm going to head all the way to our northern boundary, and I'm hoping the incredible Nkahumas have come back from their visitation of a Biffle's Hook. We also might hopefully spot an owl. That would be lovely. What owl have we not seen? We've seen pearl spotted, we've seen barred, we've seen white-faced scops, we've seen a normal scops, we've seen a Burroughs eagle owl, and we've seen this. We have seen the other eagle owl, I'm pretty sure. But the only owl that might occur here that we have not seen is, of course, the elusive Cape eagle owl. Not a spotted eagle owl is the other one we've seen, but we haven't seen a Cape eagle owl. They are quite rare. Oh, there goes my door again. Land Rover doors like to open on their own accord. It's a very funny thing about them. So I'm going to meander up towards Sydney's waterhole. Maybe the Nkahuma's got thirsty. But I would recommend to all our damn cam aficionados, keep an eye on that camera tonight. Fingers crossed the Nkahuma's come back for a drink. Just my lights. Maybe tonight is the night of the chameleon. That would be wonderful to see the first chameleon of the season. That something in the tree, or was it a stick silhouetted? It's a stick. Sorry about that. I thought it might be a nice owl. Now, James is wondering, do I think this is good weather for chameleons? Not great weather, but we have had that little bit of moisture again the other morning. That might be enough to get them to hatch. And so I will be checking all the quarries. You might have noticed I switched off my headlights there and switching off my side lights as not to blind the impala that are disappearing off. Now impala get very blinded by lights, and they can sometimes jump into the car if you're not careful. Such a lovely evening. And I don't know if you saw that flash of colour that passed across. It was a lilac-breasted roller doing a last-minute bit of hunting, and you just saw that flick across there. Nearly dark enough for my spotting light. Oh, not quite yet. So another 5 minutes before it's spotlight time. Strangely enough, in this low light, quite often your eyes are still the best thing to spot things with, and it's amazing when that little bit changes, just gets that little bit too dark for our eyes. Oh, there we go. Hello, they've got a little foal. I know it's very dark and we can't put lights on them, but they are right next to us with a glorious sunset behind them. Some zebras. There we go. And let me just roll forward over there slightly. You'll see there's a little baby. It's so small it's hiding. We can't see it behind Mom. There he is. Hello, little fluff ball. Now if we keep quiet, we can even hear them eating. Yeah, fork-tailed drongos eat. And the very similar to, oh, yes. It's just almost a magic time of the day as we leave the daylight and head into the darkness. The world of lions. Oh, but in the moment we've got zebra and impala up ahead. Could these call the Nkuhumas back? That is the question. So the tracks of the Nkuhumas crossed north to Buffalo's Hook, just opposite us now, so we're going to go all the way up to the gate and then come down past Sydney's waterhole and hope for a little lion luck late in the drive. Just because, oh sorry zebra, my eyes are that good. At night time, the chameleons don't need their colour for camouflage, so they actually turn white, and so they stick out in the little bushes that they sit on, so they're quite easy to spot when they're around. And we've spotted some big ones, and we've even spotted some tiny ones, not much bigger than my thumb. Now, of course, we only get one species of chameleon in the Sabi Sands, and that is the flap-necked chameleon. They are incredible creatures, and there's a lot of superstition around chameleons. Probably one of the, I suppose not the best known one, but quite a well known one is from the Sand people, a sort of folklore about chameleons. Why they don't like chameleons very much, and the Sand like all animals, and the reason for that is the chameleon is the animal that cost man immortality. So the Creator sent the chameleon to go tell people that immortality was theirs if they wanted it. But on his way, he got sidetracked by a bunch of yummy hohos or bugs, and he started eating them, and he couldn't remember what he was supposed to tell man, so he went for a nap. And God got angry and said, these silly people, and don't they want an immortality? That's fine, they can't have it anymore. And when man went back to beg the Creator for immortality, he wouldn't listen to them, and they blamed chameleon ever since. Now, in a lot of African cultures, chameleons are killed on sight, and that's believed not because of that story in particular, but they're believed to be evil, and full of witchcraft because of the speed that their tongue goes out and they change colour. So of course that is not right. So in a lot of places chameleons have quite a hard time, and they are quite often killed on sight. Lots of animals everywhere, but I'll put the light in the air. Come on in, Kahumas, where are you hiding? Come back from Buffalo's Hook, because Karula's left us and now we have no cats. But that could change tomorrow. That is the wonderful thing about being out in an open system. You never know what's going to walk on overnight. But I hope we do see a cat tomorrow to keep the cat spree running. So we have seen cats every day since the 8th of September. So from Genre and myself, it's been absolutely lovely having you on the back of the world's largest safari vehicle with us. And guess what? The most amazing, exciting, happy thing is we get to do it all again on tomorrow's sunrise safari, bright and early. So don't forget to join us. But for the last few moments of drive, let's go back to Jamie and Brian and see what they're up to.
And so the chameleon search continues, with Brent giving away our top secret, which of course is not really too much of a top secret. The fact that chameleons look white at night. They are white at night. There's no point in trying to camouflage yourself when it's dark, because of course there's no possibility of seeing colour. So, it's nice and warm this evening. It's perfect weather. I feel as though... Come on, Brian. We're going to get the first chameleon. I love Taylor to bits, but I'm not sure a picture of a chameleon counts. It was a lovely idea, but I'm not sure a drawing of a chameleon pinned to a tree counts as the first chameleon. Alrighty, come on, chameleon. Let us find you. Hasn't been a great season for chameleons. Last year certainly wasn't. We hardly saw any. Really hoping that this year might be different. Yesterday I found a frog, thinking it was a chameleon. The day before I found a nesting pair of puffback shrikes that I thought were chameleons. They're admittedly the fattest chameleons in the world. I was convinced I had spotted them. Well, perhaps with Steph back in not too distant future, our hopes will have to rest on bushwalk. We haven't done very well at finding chameleons this year. We have, however, even if we don't find the chameleons as we trundle through on our way home, back to the delicious cooking at the DRC, we have had a marvellous afternoon, and I think it was really, truly a beautiful afternoon to be out in the bush. Thoroughly enjoyed it. We'll just have to wait and see what tomorrow holds for us. Perhaps the Nkuhumas will come back south, perhaps Karula will come back north, and the whole variety of other animals might decide to make them. And who knows, chameleon might come and tap dance in the road in front of us tomorrow. It's a live safari, you never know what to expect. Please don't expect that, it's not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen. And it's a very strange thought. But you never know, we might find a chameleon, is basically where I was going with that sentence. Just dim all my lights. Going past a massive herd of impala, and I don't want to disturb them in any way, shape or form. Well, you'll just have to stay tuned to find out what happens on the sunrise safari tomorrow morning. And, of course, the eager anticipation of Taylor and the wonderful Mr. Henry at some point tomorrow. Not sure if they'll be on drive tomorrow afternoon, I'm not making any promises, but they will be around. So, on that note, it comes time for the end of our sunset safari. Brian, thank you for all of your wonderful there. You know that word? You know, wonderful camera work, thank you. Thank you to the Thumb as well for his company, as well as to Rebecca and I think to Lou in Final Control, or to Kirsty in Final Control. Sorry Kirsty, and our tech team, and of course all of you watching across the globe. I hope you had a marvelous time, and we will catch up with you wherever you happen to be on the Sunrise Safari. Bye bye everybody.